Welcome to the Milestones Podcast, where we engage, inform, and encourage parents in strategic moments in their families' lives. Whether your family is close to the Lord or far away, this conversation is for you. Here we go, episode 1 of The Blessing. This one right here, we've got a few people in the room. Mad Dog, also known as Madison. We got Ryan Taylor, always here with a good joke. And we got the queen of all preschool ministry, Miss Beth, here with us. And so we want to open up really kind of what I feel right now is Beth is just going to get on to all three of us for how we acted at a certain point in our life. And
Probably so.
That's kind of how I'm feeling. But anyway, I would say a lot of the blessing when we get ready for the podcast, it's probably topics that you're not going to hear directly addressed on a Sunday morning. Like, you're not going to come in on a Sunday morning and the title of the sermon is not going to be, "It was your turn to get the kid. Turn to Joshua chapter 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, you're not going to hear that. Yeah, you're not going to get that. And so you feel like this might be a question you got to go outside the church to answer. You know, a quick Google search might give you the answer, but I feel like you have a whole staff that have walked through this before. And so I really want to know, whose turn is it to get the crying baby at 1 a.m.? If that would be the title of the sermon, is whose turn is it? Yes. And so, Mad Dog, what'd y'all do? What'd you and Angela do?
Let me just say, I think I am married to a superhero of a mom. Angela has been amazing.
I'm pretty sure, Madison, that is not what you said before we started this. You were wanting to know why she didn't get up to get the kid.
I think listen, all three of you have superhero
Hey,
moms.
Funny how people change when that camera gets on them.
That's right. That's right. No, well, for perspective, I have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then an 18-month-old. So we're kind of not too far from this season that you're talking about. And yes, a lot of late nights. I will be honest, Angela got up way more than I did for reasons that shall remain nameless.
Oh, okay. Ryan, what'd y'all do?
Sure, man. We were the take turn couple. So
what does that mean?
That means Erica would take a night, and then the next night I knew it was my turn. So if the baby was crying, I would get up and handle the situation. Obviously, she handled them a lot better than I probably did. And did it always stick to that? Obviously not. You know, I maybe slept through it or didn't hear it. And usually if that happened, she's smacking me in the arm or bumping me until I wake up, because I sleep a lot harder than she does. But really, honestly, like Madison said, even as a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, you still have these conversations because your kids can get up sick as well. So for that too, Erica's usually the one that gets up for that, because she is the dental hygienist. She's not a nurse or anything, but she does know things probably a lot better than I do. And do I handle situations at 2:00 in the morning better than she probably would? Yeah. That's probably a hard no on that one, because more for us is the child comes in the room and wanting to sleep with us at this point of age because they're afraid of something or something's on their nerves. And I just say, turn around and go back in your bed.
Yeah. I would say too, with probably our ministries, if a parent or somebody walks over and is like, "Hey man, I'd love to get plugged in," all that kind of stuff, and they want to jump in your ministry and start serving. With Beth, it's like they walk in probably and everybody's very tired. And they're
exhausted.
Just like, here, like, it's your turn, that kind of thing.
Nervous.
Yes.
Like, what? I'm about to leave my child with people I don't know, and are they going to be okay? And I've been up all night, and I'm a little anxious. And
maybe this should be podcast number 2. When do I bring my kid to church?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a good topic.
That sounds great.
I like that. But yeah, so but how do you handle like?
But I think we all want to know what Caleb and Brittany's strategy was.
Yeah, that's right.
What was yours?
Well, I mean, I had to go to work, so. I'm just kidding. That's not what happened. I felt nervous just then. I got nervous.
You started sweating.
No, I think what we did, I mean, it took a couple fights to get there, but this is where we landed was, I mean, at first, I don't really care if they're crying. I don't care if they're crying. That doesn't bother me. I'm be fine with that. Brittany doesn't like anybody crying. And so there was a little bit of tension with that, first. And so, but I would get up every single time that somebody needed to be fed. I'm obviously not breastfeeding, so I can't do anything. So
Are you telling the truth?
I did every single time. I got up and I'm trying to engage. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to engage. So I got up. I changed the the clothes or whatever, the diaper, and then I handed whoever the kid was to Brittany. I did that, and then she would nurse, and then she would put him back to sleep. Okay, and I would just go back to sleep, and we just did that, and that worked for us, and it was great. But it took a lot of fights to get to that point, and I wish we would have started that way because it ended up being great. But everybody is tired, everybody is frustrated, and everybody says things that are very hurtful. Usually, they're very, very direct. Usually, I don't know if it's hurtful. I have feelings, I think, just with my wife. I'm just, if she says something mean to me, my feelings hurt. If Madison says something, I don't really care, So, but I just think I have feelings for her, so I don't know what it is. But I would just say, how do you handle that? How do you begin the conversation? Because everybody's tired all the time.
I think,
Madison, you're in a very rough time. With the ages of your kids, it's
and
hard.
maybe I should clarify. I was referring to the young baby stage when, similar to you, I'm not feeding a baby.
Yeah.
But now, when I'm hearing crying in the middle of the night, a lot of times it's somebody threw up in the bed, and I am in their room before Angela can get out of the bed. Oftentimes, and because of a few of those experiences of a sick kid or whatever. And so now it's very different now than when it was during that time. I think it can be helpful to have conversations when you're not up at 1 a.m. and to say, hey, kind of like
the time to have the
and this
conversation.
is what Ryan said is, hey, we had a plan. And I think it is helpful to have somewhat of a generic plan.
Yeah.
Because for me, there was times where I'm sleeping and Angela did not wake me up and she's already gotten up, and vice versa.
Yeah. Oh, sleeping. You were sleeping. I didn't
Eric,
even hear
Eric
it.
would do that too, but also, unfortunately, I'm a OCD type person, so I am a planner, and that's what I do in life. And Beth can admit to that. That's just how I'm wired. So when we, the question you're asking, as we know we're getting in this stage of life, we just talk things through. Was it always good conversations, and did we have fights? Absolutely. Did we have them at 1 or 2 in the morning? Sure. And we regret things that we might have said or did, but we know that God forgives us and loves us, and our love for each other has grown stronger by that. But when you can plan ahead, it always helps to avoid those type of situations.
I just know Ryan, being the person he preps, he never looked for a diaper. He knew right where they were.
Absolutely.
They were right where he put them.
They are in a certain
And buddy,
spot.
I could not find a
have that
diaper to
spot.
save my life.
And I can tell you where my wife's stuff is more than she can tell you where they are.
I'm like, hey, I can't tell you how many times I gave a kid to my wife with no diaper. Just like, here, they'll be fine. And then now you're in a fight. You know what I'm saying? Now you're arguing about something. But I cannot agree more. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., any time before 5 is not the time to try to figure out who should be doing what. I do understand some people are going to be in different situations with work and somebody. And a lot of times, I think the husband has the idea of, well, I got to get up and go to work. Hey, you're going to be here for the next 3 or 4 months, with our kid. I'm the one working. You need to be doing all this. Where you sit with that?
I think it's very difficult as a mom because you are with them all day long. You have to be up. You have to be engaged. You have to be watching what they're doing constantly. You have to be a part of meeting their every single need. But then you've been up all night as well. And so you're running on empty and you have no fuel left to give. And so, for Daryl and I, it's been 28 years, but I do remember he would say, hey, babe, let me get up tonight because I do get to go to work tomorrow and you have to be here with them all day. It was very easy for Daryl because he could get up, lay on the couch, put the baby on the chest and hum, and the baby would go right back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how come I can't do that? Kind of made me jealous a little bit. But, we did take turns. And I did get up one night. He would get up the next night, very much like Ryan and Erica did. But I just think it's very hard on the mom when she has to continue to care for that baby all day long and be there and be the provider for everything that child needs. And so I think she's looking for just a little bit of support and maybe an hour of sleep.
Everybody's working hard. Everybody's getting after it.
Yeah.
And I think, I think that when you are in those moments, they get very tense.
Absolutely.
The covers go back. the legs start kicking a little bit like, "Oh, go. Hey, it's your turn. It's your turn." And you feel a lot of that. And I think some people have, well, you need to do this, or you need to do this, or as the wife, you need this. And I'm more of you as the father. This is almost one of the first things that I feel like you get to prove that you also love this child. Like a mom is going to have a very special connection because she carried that child for 9 months. Like, and she's immediately going to think like, I love this child, and you almost have to show like as a dad, I love the child too. Like, I mean, we're going to love it differently, but we're going to love the child differently. But it's almost like your first chance of proving like, hey, I want to show you like I love this child too, because at a certain point they're going to get one, and sometimes moms can be so like, well, we're not doing that. You won't even let you be a dad, because they're kind of pushing you off a little bit because you don't protect them the way that she does. And it's almost like the first time you're stepping into proving and showing, hey, I do love this child, and I do understand, because it's not like your wife's going to wake up 2 months later and just be like, thank you so much for getting up with the kid. You're not going to get thanked for it. I mean, you should do it. You're expected to do this.
And I think as a dad too, we want moms to know that, our wives, we're not doing it to prove it either. We do it because we love not only our wives, but we love this child as well. More of the thing for us is we're almost nervous to do it for the first time. God has placed this incredible gift into our hands. How do we, like you said, check out again podcasts for you guys, it's just nervous, the opportunity that God's given us to be the parent for this child, to raise them up in a Christ-like atmosphere.
I think what's helpful to remember is that, because for this season, at least in my mind, what kind of we're all talking about is really those probably first 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah.
At least that's what's in my mind.
Yeah.
And I think it's really helpful to remember that it is a season.
Absolutely.
Because if you forget that, oh my goodness, this is our new normal, well, it's not. Like it's going to get easier. At least you're going to get some sleep. It may not get easier, but you'll at least get a little bit more sleep. And remembering that, and I think knowing that makes going into it, I'm not sure. Hold up. Knowing that it's going to get easier helps you in the middle of the night to know, hey, this is just one less time. I love this child. This is hard. I'm tired. We're both tired. We're going to make it through this season. I think if you know that going into it, it makes it a little easier.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
Yes.
Yeah. But then there's other times of getting up, where a kid's crying because they're scared. And that's kind of a different situation.
Yeah. I think with all these things, it just goes back to, if you're in a conversation, you're in an argument, it literally just has to do with there's some expectation that's not being met. That's what it is, from the husband or the wife. That's all it is. And so some of that is because you're just mad at each other and you're not talking, and nobody can read your mind. The other part of that is somebody has told you over and over again, and you're still not doing it. Like it's one of those two things are happening. And so I would just press back into, it's not, so I don't even know if I should go here. Most of the times as a guy, like, you're thinking, I'm going to go help out. I'm going to clean the house. I'm going to get the kid, because you think you're going to get rewarded later with sex or something. That's like, you think that's the reward. But like when you're in those phase of like, you just had a kid and somebody's touching you, poking you, on you all day, you're going to go do all these things, and that's not going to be the reward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not even get thanked for it because she's tired, and it's somewhere like, that's not how it was a year ago. What happened? And it's just that communication just never, you just don't begin to communicate, and it just begins to get tension because there's just expectations that aren't being met. And you feel like, I'm too tired to have this conversation. It's not, the mountain in front of me is just too big. I'm just going to lie, And
I think that's an important thing too for all couples, for husband and wife to, again, before this stage of life, if you were having devotion together before then, don't let that slack off.
Yes.
That's a huge part of your continued growth and communication and being selfless when it comes to making these kind of decisions, whether it's about your child or other things. As long as you're staying in the Word, not just personally, but also together, that helps these decisions, these conversations that you have to be enhanced and more glory to Him.
Anybody got you two guys got any 2 cents for the guys, for the husband? And Beth, you got 2 cents for the wife. Anybody got anything for closing?
I think what you said just made me laugh for memory is don't throw the sheets or bump into the bed or slam the door if you have to get up because it wasn't your turn or something like that. That doesn't help, and that'll come to bite you in the rear end, later that day. And again, not to hope that, oh man, I'm not getting sex this
Yeah.
weekend or something like that, but just that's your wife. That's the gift that God's given
Yeah.
you, and we respect them at all times. So even if you're thinking it like, man, I got to get up, just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Just
Yeah, I mean, I think just finding little ways to show your wife that you appreciate her. But I think, again, it's a very challenging stage when you first have a child, and
Mhm.
just remembering this is a season, we're going to make it through it. And we've already hit on it, but sitting down before you actually have the child and discussing, hey, what's our plan going to be? Let's talk through that. And then if you need to change it, don't change it at 1 a.m. Change it when both of you are awake and you've had your coffee. And find somebody that has a little baby and spend some time around them before you have one.
And they'll make your marriage feel like it's so much better. Pick somebody that's falling apart. No, I'm just kidding. But what do you got?
I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad when I say this, but just remember,
I'll be honest with you, I cannot wait to hear what you're about to say.
the days are long, but the years are short.
Hmm.
And when you're tired and you're cranky and you're thinking this is never going to end, one day you're going to look back on that and you're going to say, man, those were really the easy days.
Yeah, that's true. Well, again, this is podcast 1 in the midst of a mini podcast, and I would just encourage any parent that's listening to this to do not give up, stand firm at what the Word tells you, and you got a whole staff here that loves you and is praying for you, and will walk through this journey with you.